I'll just start it off. I'm Jax Redline, I'm 14 years old, I'm from Amarillo, Texas, and I'm a race car driver.
Redline. I'm Jackson's mom.
I'm Shane Redline, 43 years old, grew up in Amarillo, Texas.
I am from Amarillo, Texas. I was born and raised here, lived here my whole life. Got married to Shane right out of high school, or right out of college. Had 2 kids, Macy and Jax.
Man, had a little rough childhood growing up. That's okay, man. It kind of shapes us and got us where we're at today. I can remember the day, being about 8 years old, and moved to live with my grandparents when I was about 10. But I remember one year my bicycle got stolen on a Christmas because I left it out, and I didn't get another bicycle until the next year. And so, man, we've come a long ways. Life's a little different now, especially for Jax Redline.
I went to college to be a teacher, and I taught for 8 years, and then it just got busy with our own kids, and so I decided to stay home.
Started a trucking company about 10 years ago. Ironically named Jax Transport, spelled just the way Jax Redline's name spelled. Named after him just a little bit maybe, but anyway, so we're in the trucking business, and started out 10 years ago with a dually pickup truck, and now we're about 230 semis, so that's pretty crazy. Super surreal that we've gotten to that point.
Macy's leaving for TCU in the fall, and so between her getting ready for college and Jax's racing schedule, we're really busy around our house.
I started riding dirt bikes when I was 11 years old. My uncle gave me a 1980 Suzuki RM80, and I used to go ride that thing every day. And what was funny is I would ride it every day up and down the alley because that's the only place I could get to ride. But I didn't care. I just loved riding it. I rode that thing till the engine seized up in it.
The whole time Shane and I dated, he raced motocross, so we spent a ton of time at the motocross track.
And I remember Jax Redline, when he was little, his mama wanted to stay home and raise him, but we didn't have the money to do that, and so I built a motocross track. Had Valley Ridge Motocross, Clutch City Motocross, who made enough money so that Jax his mama could stay home with him, and his sister. We weren't fortunate enough for that to happen, but it worked out with with Jax.
Shane was just determined that he was going to race dirt bikes, and so he bought him a dirt bike when he was 2 years old with training wheels.
Growing up, racing just seemed normal. My dad raced dirt bikes for a long time, and he got me on a 50cc dirt bike.
And he hooked a rope to the back of it and went up to the park. And of course, Jax didn't know how to use the brakes.
And I'd follow him around, because he definitely understood the concept of throttle, but he didn't get the concept of brakes. And so I'd follow him around at 2.5 years old, fill out a pacifier in his freaking mouth, and ride around the motocross track with him.
And he raced his dirt bike. He ended up getting 5th at Loretta Lynn's whenever he was in kindergarten. We would all load up in our motorhome and go all over the place for his races, and it was just a fun family adventure pretty much every weekend.
He was 7 years old, and he had a huge get off in Odessa, Texas, and that pretty much changed. After we finished 5th at Loretta Lynn's, I just knew that he was going to be a professional motocross rider, and that pretty much changed the game when he had that huge crash.
He was a little bit nervous whenever it was, jumping big doubles and stuff like that.
He started crashing a lot, and it was really weird. He'd fall over in corners and just stuff he never did. And we had a motorhome. We didn't have any freaking money at all. I'm credit carding it, trying to get everywhere, maxed out my credit cards, just trying to make his racing deal happen. We had about 1,400 miles to drive back one day, and I finally just said, look, I'm not sure what happened to you, man, but you can't, if we're gonna do this, you're gonna go out and crash every moto. And that's what he had done since he had those big get-offs in Odessa, Texas. I said, maybe we just need to race locally, because I don't know what's happened, but it can't work like this. And the kid was as serious as he could be, and it almost brings tears to my eyes to tell this, but he looked at me and he said, Dad, do you think I'm probably gonna die this year? And, talk about getting hit in the heart. Man, I was like, what? And that's what had happened to me. He lost his mojo from those crashes in Odessa, Texas. I said, you really feel that way? You really think that could happen to you? He goes, yeah, I do. And I said, well, I can guarantee that you're not going to die racing motocross, and here's how. Because we're done racing motocross.
Just as a family, we kind of decided that we would rather him be in cars, where it was maybe a little bit safer.
He never raced motocross again after that.
And so we moved over to go-karts, circle track go-karts, and then into mini sprints, and then I got an UTV, and I just loved it.
And it just really kind of launched the whole racing deal, man, into this desert 4-wheel deal that we're doing today. It was pretty funny. I remember calling my buddy Ernesto being introduced to this guy named Ernesto and Taylor out of Mesa, Arizona, and Dan over at Lone Star Racing. We bought a used Can-Am from him, and we went and raced a race down in Puerto Penasco, and I come back, and we're down there in Puerto Penasco, and I said, Ernesto, I want to race the Baja 500. He said, yeah, but you've only raced 2 races. Like, you should probably go race for a couple years before you go to the Baja 500. I go, nah, I'm ready. I said, you know, whatever it costs, help me figure it out, whatever. And next thing you know, man, we're racing the Baja 500, and it was hard as hell. It was brutal. It was the roughest thing we'd ever done. And next thing you know, here we are, you know, 2 years later, we've raced 2 Baja 500s, 2 Baja 1000s, and so that's really kind of where we came from.
I just wanted to go faster. That want to go faster is what have us now in off-road trucks.
Pretty wild to see a 14-year-old kid lead the team, you know. I mean, usually, I knew my kid, you always hope your kids are better than you are at life and what they're doing, and they learn from you, and they can be better than you, but I didn't know he'd beat me at like 14 years old. I was waiting until 17 to 18 years old before he was better than me, but now I have to drive in the right seat most of the time when we're doing desert racing because he's faster than me, and I'm okay with that, you know, because it's awesome. It's a great experience, and a lot of people ask me what I love about desert racing, and I said, well, it's the only, you know, I get to race with my kid, and so it's the only time that you get to spend, you know, 4 to 15 hours with somebody uninterrupted.
So now we are in a HRT Pro Light and a Brenthel 6100 spec trophy truck. So a 6100 spec trophy truck is a desert truck. So the type of racing is you go out and it's a really long race, 200 to 1,000 miles, and you're just trying to preserve the truck and not break it. In a Pro Light, it's a short course track where you're going 110% driving the whole time, going as fast as you can, trying to make the fastest lap time as possible against a whole bunch of other people that you're super close to. Right before a race, I get really nervous and I get super excited, and then I focus in on the race, and then I just go. To be in a race car at race speed it's insane. It's so much fun. Going 100 miles an hour over whoops or like really tight sections, it's just so, it's almost scary, but you have to be really focused to make sure nothing goes wrong.
Coming from racing motocross, the cars and trucks seem so much safer. I totally agree that they're not, you know, safe, but it just feels a little better that he has so much protection and roll cage and everything around him. It's still scary though. I mean, he's my baby. You know, no mom wants to see their baby jump in a race car and take off.
You're bulletproof in a roll cage, you're going 20 probably. When you're going 100, a lot of that ability to be bulletproof goes away, and you know, you're not Superman anymore. You know, he and I will always say a quick prayer before we take off on a big race and ask God to watch over us.
I think the 3 biggest people that I look up to in racing are probably Travis Pastrana, Kyle LeDuc, and BJ Baldwin. They all make awesome videos and are just so fast. Travis Pastrana is skydiving, dirt bikes, rally, anything.
If there's anybody that believes in dreams, it's me.
Obviously, we would love for him to follow his dreams and do anything he wants to do. That's the utmost importance to us, is that he's happy in whatever he chooses, whether it's being a professional race car driver or being a dentist or whatever it is he decides to do. We support him 100%.
I would 100% consider being a race car driver my dream job. It'd be so awesome to travel the world and race all the time and get paid to do what I love.
No one's given me anything to get where I'm at. I've had to work hard. I've had to had a lot more hair 10 years ago before I started my own trucking company.
So I just recently got approved by the United States Parachute Association to get a solo A license to go skydiving.
Jax at 12, 13 started skydiving, and our kids do live a different life.
I think one of the main things I know that is so important to me as his mother is that we've raised him to be kind and humble, and we just want to be sure that he's the kind of kid that people want to spend time with, and you know, that's just really important to us.
Makes me think back, because I am humble, I don't forget where I came from. Makes me think like, man, when I was 14, like I was riding bicycles in my buddy's house on a Saturday night to go watch a movie or whatever. You know, my son's sitting here on the stage, and 1,000 people are watching him, getting ready to take off. I don't know where it ends up, I mean, You know, one thing he and I kid about a little bit is I'm like, you know, we talk about how much it costs to, you know, race certain races, and I'm like, hey man, I hope you're a professional race car driver because I'm spending all of our retirement right now paying you to go racing, so you need to turn into something great, you know, and make some good money out of this deal. But at the end of the day, what I have lots of my friends are like, dude, I didn't realize your kid was that fast. You know, we saw how he did at this race or that race or what have you. Is he going to be a professional race car driver? And I'm like, you know, I certainly can't dictate that. I mean, all I can do is give him these opportunities, and if he does it, great. If not, what I tell my friends are, I don't know if he's going to be a professional race car driver, but we'll have a heck of a lot of fun trying.
My biggest goal in off-road truck racing is to win the Baja 1000. I'm in a position right now where I might be able to be the youngest person to do it.
For his life, and I mean, he has to live his life with no fear and just be